We're back live tonight here on In Focus. Center this matter now, Gauteng Health MEC Nomantu Nkomo-Ralehoko has revealed that the Tembisa Hospital is running low on some medicines. This includes those used to treat high blood pressure, bipolar and epilepsy. For more on this, we're joined by Democratic Alliance's health spokesperson in Gauteng, Jack Bloom, as well as Tembisa Hospital pharmacy manager, Setlishi Chipu. Gentlemen, good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on tonight here on In Focus. Mr. Chipu, let's begin with you as the pharmacy manager. Is this a normal occurrence? It is something that kind of repeats itself where the hospital finds itself battling with inadequate stock to treat some rather important conditions like high blood pressure and epilepsy? Or is this an exception to the rule?
Okay. Good evening to you and your viewers. First thing, let me start by saying my name is Mr. Chipu. I'm the pharmacy manager here in Tembisa Hospital. I want to give a brief background on something first. Medicine is classified into three areas where we have vital medicine, essential and non-essential. The vital medicine are those that saves lives. You can never run the hospital without them because they save lives. All those medications we've never run out. And we have the essential medicine where when the patients are discharged, now they're stable, they are coming to the hospital to collect to maintain their chronic conditions. Those are called essential medicine. Most of them, we have a lot of patients on them, but they come in different strength, and then we are able to help our patients. So what I'm trying to do, and we also have the non-essentials, which patients can always survive without them. So what I'm trying to say is, even if sometimes there could be a shortage of a certain strength of medicine, but the other strength will find that is always in the hospital, and the patients are always there.
Yeah. Mr. Chipu, I'm not sure if you've got a television device that is on in the room. If you do, please mute it because it is interfering with the broadcast. So you are saying that you are currently having sufficient vital medicines. You're saying you never run out of those. So which of those three categories are currently running low, are currently inadequate?
Mr. Butulu, to answer you there, the vital medicine, as I said, is life-saving. We have never run out of. So it means we are able to save, or the lives of our people were never compromised on that area. So mostly this medication, we find them in the ICUs, like your adrenaline, your atropine, your labetalol. We always have them. And then now we go to the essential one, as I said. We always have them, and in substitutions. They are always we have substitutes for them. And the non-essentials are those that patients can live without, like your rub. You may find that sometimes you don't have it, but that won't affect the life or the health of our patients. So that is what I'm trying to say. So the essentials and the vitals, our patients are always getting them in our hospital.
Jack Bloom, it seems then, if that is the case, there is no shortage, right? Except for the non-essentials, which are not things that are life-saving.
Well, I think we need to look at the broader picture in Gauteng hospitals, and so-called non-essentials, if they're not available, can be, very distressing for patients not to have. There was quite a severe shortage of heartburn medication. Now, I can imagine patients not getting their heartburn medication. Obviously, it not life-threatening, but certainly very, very uncomfortable for patients. The statistics province-wide is that 95 to 96% of essential and vital medicines are generally distributed. Now, that's not actually good enough. I mean, it means that about 5% of patients, I'm talking about all hospitals in Gauteng, are not getting essential medicines. In the Western Cape, they try to be as very close to possible as 100%, and they basically normally are there. You can do substitutions, as has been mentioned, and which is not always advisable. Some patients might react better to the original medication. When you change them, there actually could be problems, and that happens quite often. In fact, it's best to keep patients on the medicine that they're most comfortable with. But yes, the official figures from the quarterly reports are around about 96%. So 4% of patients are not getting their original medicines, and that's thousands of patients. So I think we can tighten up on that, and we should look to the Western Cape because they've got it right. It's just very, very close to 100% with all their medicines. And I think part of the problem, as has been admitted by the Health MEC, is that supplier contracts are not always reliable, and suppliers that have been contracted don't deliver. And the other problem is they don't deliver because they're not being paid. Now, that's just a chronic problem in Gauteng. The last figures is that, latest figures is that only 41% of all suppliers are paid within the required 30 days, and some of them don't want to deliver, and some of them are medicine companies. So I think that's a broader problem that I'd like to see more attention paid to.
Yeah. Mr. Chipu, just address those three issues. The first area, I suppose, is where I see you nodding, and I suppose this is what has also been indicated by the MEC, that the current challenges that you have been facing on these non-essentials, especially between January and May, are due to the shortages at the supplier point of view, some of your contractors not meeting their obligations. Is there an explanation as to why that has actually happened, and how do you generally remedy that kind of a situation?
First thing, let me explain this, that I am here representing Tembisa Hospital. Not the province. I'm going to answer based on my hospital and then our pharmacy in the hospital. Yes, there's a problem sometimes when a contracted company cannot supply medicine. So when they cannot supply medicine, there are internal processes that we follow. What we do, we communicate with the depot. Our depot in Gauteng. Remember, we have a depot in Gauteng where all these hospitals order their medication from. So they will do what we call a buyout against the contracted supplier. So it's not us who should do that. We are not, as a hospital, we are not involved in the contract giving, and then people not supply, or the companies not supplying. So we are affected as hospitals when the contracted supplier cannot supply us with medicine. There he is right there. Even the MEC is right there. So they need to fix it from maybe national side or from the provincial side.
And how much of that would be linked to non-payment of the contractors?
As I said, I don't work with payment of contractors, It's them there, the provincial level, the MECs and the other people, they can answer that one better. Mine is to make sure that I have the stock. When I don't have the stock, I escalate the matter to them so that they know that we have this problem and then they can solve it. And then when they find that it's a matter of the supplier not supplying us, it means that supplier is not respecting the contract that he has signed with the department. So they need to solve it at their level.
Yeah, but for yourself then, as the pharmacy manager managing that kind of stock, what is it that you do when you experience those kind of shortages? What measures do you then put in place to ensure that that inadequacy does not begin to affect you? Yes, I know you can escalate it to province and say, depot, please supply, but ultimately your hospital becomes affected. So how do you mitigate that the hospital does not become affected?
Okay, that is a good question. Now let me answer you in this way. Remember, when a company is contracted to the department, it does not mean always that company is a sole supplier of that particular item. So what we do in my hospital, we have the reps of all these companies who normally tell us the challenges. They will tell us that, no, this item, the contract is coming to an end. And also the depot also inform us that this item is going to come to an end. And then we have a problem again, maybe perhaps with the company not be able to supply us. So what do we do to mitigate for that? We do a buyout against that contracted supplier. So that, but we don't do it in the hospital. We do it at the depot level. The depot will do that one for all these hospitals in Gauteng.
Yeah.
And
so
that process sometimes...
Sorry, Mr. Chipu, explain to me what a buyout means.
Yes.
My understanding is that if you then approach the rep directly and you are able to acquire that medication from the rep directly, you then send a note to the depot to say, I no longer require this medication from this contractor because they didn't supply on time. Is that how it works?
The PFMA does not allow that. The Public Finance Management Act does not allow that because that will be a favor to that company. So what do? We will get 3 quotations from 3 different companies who can supply that same medicine. And then after getting those things, they will go for vetting. And they will go to the province, and the province will do all that for us so that they will be able to charge the contracted supplier who cannot supply. For example, if now we were to go our way and buy that medicine, it means now that we will be losing it now. That medication is becoming more expensive. We will be losing. So what is happening is the depot will vet against the contracted supplier so that if the new supplier says this thing is 10 rand, whereas we're buying it with 8 rand from the contracted one, the contracted supplier must pay that 2 rand difference. So in that way, this is how the department perhaps keeps the corruption and all like that and all the wrong things. Because we cannot go and look for a favorite person and buy from them. No, we will follow the PFMA.
All right. So, Jack, how do you say we tighten this situation? Because it does seem to be something that is recurring. You're saying there's some examples, for example, that could be picked up from the likes of the Western Cape and how they are handling their procurement processes.
Well, I think that it needs to be tightened up at the provincial and national level. That's where the problems are, and I feel sorry for hospitals like Tembisa because they're actually the victim in many cases. An example of the heartburn medication that was missing, Lanzaloc, which is very important for people who suffer from heartburn. At Telemugarani Hospital, they had to borrow. I suppose you can't really borrow medicine, but they had to get medicine from other hospitals. So what happens as a result of defective contract management or companies not being paid is that hospitals really have to do their best to substitute, which is not always ideal, or make a plan to get the medicine from other hospitals, which is also not good at all. So I think that provincially, they need to get better with paying suppliers on time. They need to have better contract management, and there are national contracts that I think can also be handled better. But for a province, they need to make contingency plans if a national contract is not going to work out, and that's what Western Cape seems to be doing more successfully than other provinces, and they really managed to get as close to as 100% as possible, which I think is absolutely desirable and makes things easier for hospitals like Tembisa Hospital.
Right, I appreciate you, gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming on tonight. That's Democratic Alliance's Gauteng Health spokesperson Jack Bloom and Tembisa Hospital Pharmacy Manager Setlishi Chipu.